Okay, cool. Here we are at another mallet lesson. So last time we sort of finished up scales, I believe, and we talked about. Did we talk about green exercises?
I believe so. Yeah, yes we did. Yes we did.
Awesome. Then let's go ahead and starting on G major.
Okay.
I want to hear green exercises for G, for D, and for A. Let's do the first three in the circle.
Okay.
Cool. Go ahead and have at it. Start with your right hand.
Oh shit, that's right.
Ooh. Good, good. Before you go on to the next one, okay, just another general comment. Try and just get those mouths up just a little bit more so that way you're not, the motion still every once in a while becomes this versus this. You end up trying to get in your own way. And then just make sure that just like with snare drum, right? We talk about moving that fulcrum back a little bit so that way we're not pinching with these fingers. I feel like if you apply that same concept here, just try and think about controlling the mallet between all three of those fingers. It'll just warm up the sound a little bit more. So use D major here to focus on those two things. And then just remember, stay nice and lifted in your motion.
Yeah.
There it is. Cool. And then when you go and play this next one, kids, make sure that your motion is where that exercise ended and not where it began. So stay nice and lifted. It really warmed up after you got up to that top octave. Okay. Now the next thing I want you to focus on is make sure both hands are sounding even.
Okay.
Go ahead and go for it. Good. Go ahead and just do the first part of that again. I want you to notice something.
Okay.
Okay, and freeze. So notice where this guy is going every time you hit D. It's right smack in the middle of the bar. Whereas everything else you're playing has been off.
Okay.
So just try and just be aware of where you're playing, because right now it's very D's kind of like
Okay.
Yeah, so just watch that path as you go up and down. There it is. Good, good. Now can we skip up to G flat / F sharp? And then I want you to play the next three, starting from there in the circle of fifths.
Okay.
Okay, go for it. first question for you is, what did you think? What did you hear?
I kept crossing over. I don't know, just different. Like, I did everything different. Like, not the same as, you know,
Not the same as what?
like everything wasn't the same. Like, I didn't start up here. I ended up starting here. And then I did do this crossover thing again. And then the last time I did it, and then I don't know, it seems just like my right hand, like I strike harder on my right hand.
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah?
that's a pretty big. I hear a lot of.
Yeah.
Those arpeggios coming out. Okay. And I think there might be two factors to it. I think the first one is you like to live a little tight sometimes in that hand. And then I think the other one is a velocity thing, I think sometimes. You play a little bit more down. And are actually striking with a little bit of a flatter part of the mallet. You can just really focus on balancing those hands. Go ahead and let's see. Let's go ahead and start with A flat.
Okay.
And as you're doing this, okay, slow it down enough that you're really focusing on the lift and the quality of sound in every single note. All the way up and down.
Okay.
Prep yourself for success. Yeah.
No, I was just like kind of figuring something out. Okay.
Careful you don't strike that C too hard. That was better. What do you think that time?
Better?
Yeah. Did you hear the difference?
Yeah.
Between when you were like coming from the A flat to the C and it was like bam, versus when you softened it up a little bit. Okay, cool. So those are things definitely to use these exercises to sort of fix. So just be aware of those as you continue to practice and whatnot.
Okay.
Let's do some sight reading.
Yay.
Sight reading is really healthy. Why don't you go ahead and let's read. Oh, what the heck? Let's read this guy here.
Okay. B. Gotta make sure not to be. Okay. Okay. Good luck to me. Ready? Oh, okay.
I'm gonna stop you already.
It's in the I forgot the key. I'm sorry. I apologize.
So no, that's okay. But
Keep on.
that's a really good point to make. Really take
Yeah, I
note
didn't even
all
look at
this
all that. I did
all
not.
this
I did
information right here. So And that's been something I've been working on with some of my middle school students and everything too. We know we're in treble clef, and then we were just working on all of our different key signatures. So we know that this has to be
E flat.
E flat.
Major.
And then we're in 3/8. I'm going to assume you know what 3/8 means.
Yes, sir.
And then there's a tempo given to us, but we are for sight reading, so that's okay. And then the next bit of information is right here in the dynamic. Cool. Go ahead and start one more time. Use the right notes.
Okay. Nope. Nah.
Cool. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
What are some things that you felt and experienced as you were going through this process?
Anything below an E flat kind of messed me up. Anything above a B flat kind of messed me up. So I was like stuck
Okay.
here.
So you like your range.
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
Dynamics. I didn't do dynamics.
Okay.
I definitely did not do sticking.
Okay. Cool. If you were me, how would you suggest to yourself that you make this better?
Take it slower.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly with that. Especially with sight reading. It's okay to really slow down. So pick a tempo and stick with it, which you did for the most part, but there were definitely some blips and blurps, and you actually even had to restart
I did.
here. And so, yeah, just chill. It's okay. There's not a metronome out. We're not doing anything except just reading the piece. So slow it down and give your eyes time to be able to look ahead as you're playing. Then the second thing is if this was an audition, I would hope that you went as you were going through it. I mean, maybe it helps you, but
it does because it's like then I go up, down, up,
So-
down, up.
but I just thought I'd point that out in case you didn't know you were doing it.
Oh, I knew I was doing it.
And then, what can you tell me about the structure of this excerpt?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's an 8 measure.
So we've already read through it one time, but doesn't this material look awfully similar
Yeah.
to this material? So you can use that to your advantage too, as you're going through. We have an idea. Here's our A phrase. Okay, and then we go, here's a B section. And then all this A material comes back with just a little bit of variation at the end to give it a sense of finality.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're able to analyze and sort of start teaching yourself to look at those patterns, then you're not having to read every single note when it comes back. You're able to read the pattern. Yeah. So let's try it again. Let's make some of those changes. Go ahead and take it significantly slower and see if you can get some of those dynamics in there too.
Okay.
Look carefully. There it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. How'd you feel about that one?
A lot better.
I would agree. How'd you feel about those dynamic changes?
I did not do them.
Yeah, they were very minimal if they're at best.
I did not do them.
So can we? Oh, it's short enough. Let's go ahead and start back at the top, and I make a really big distinction between this mezzo forte and this pianissimo. Now that we're reading through it the third time.
Okay.
Okay, mezzo forte again. Then grow. Yeah, can we start here? Just one more time.
Okay.
Really allow this to arch up into that F and back down.
Okay.
And louder. Yeah. Cool. So I think those are definitely some things that you can sort of just apply next time you sight read. I recommend sight reading often, both with somebody staring over your shoulder and without, because it's just really a healthy thing to do. Cool. That being said, let's go ahead and look at the piece that we talked about last time, this first etude here, and see how it's coming along.
Okay. Sure.
Cool. So what key are we in?
G. Wait.
Looks like G and me.
No. It could. It'd be E minor.
It could, but what's the last note?
G.
Okay. What's the first note?
G.
Okay, and then what's in that first measure?
Arpeggio.
G major arpeggio. So it's looking like we're
Okay.
strongly rooted in G right now, but that's a really good thing to pay attention to.
Okay.
Because it could have been, without any more information, it could have very easily been an E minor.
Yeah. I was just thinking E minor because of that D sharp right there.
Mm.
But okay, cool. Okay. Got it. Yep. Nope. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's take the first two measures then.
Okay.
And he gives you a sticking to really help you out there. So I think if you start on the right, that'll make everything when you get up to the B and the G in the second beat way easier, especially with the arpeggios coming back down. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead and try it. With that change. Cool.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
Go ahead and give it a whirl though, starting on measure 1. Yeah, so start with the right hand. There it is. Cool. Sorry, I hate to keep stopping you, but remember all that talk we just had about trying to stay up? I think if you really focus on, just like we were practicing the scales, getting those mouths out of the way of each other, it'll warm up both the sound and help you with that motion starting. And then it's the same arpeggio, just starting on G instead of me going downwards. Cool. Go ahead and try that again. There it is. Okay. Good. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you said 2 measures. I'm sorry.
That's good. So can we start at beat 3 of the first measure? Okay. And I just want to make sure that you grab that D coming down the arpeggio instead of hitting an E.
Measure 3.
Beat 3, measure 1.
Beat 3, measure 1.
And then same idea here. Make sure that you're just getting those mallets out of the way of each other and pivoting. And then notice too. Oops. That's not arpeggiated there. And it's scalar coming back down.
Okay.
So go ahead and start on beat 3, measure 1.
Beat your measure 1.
Yeah, watch that E. Yeah. There it is. can we take those two measures? But again, we were so concerned about notes that we kind of lost our good sounds. Keep everything nice and lifted and connected. Start at the same spot.
Okay.
And really focus on the lift.
Right. Go back up.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good, man. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was definitely better than the first time. Cool. So why don't we stick with this? Obviously
please
for next time.
Yes.
Try and get the notes under your hands just a little
Okay.
bit more, and then keep working those scales when you get a chance, and really use those green exercises to focus on your technique and sound quality, and then make sure that when you get to the actual literature, that all that work that you've been putting into the basics doesn't go out the window. I always think, playing a wrong note with a good sound is way better than playing a wrong note with a bad sound, or even a right note with a bad sound. So, yeah, just really take some time and apply a couple of those things. And we'll see you back next time. Cool. Thanks for being here.